Hey guys, it's Tartan coming at you with another game of hardcore Minecraft. We're here where we always are. In the current world. The title of the video is lying a little bit. It's day 767 as soon as we go to sleep. Garuda looks expectantly. We're just gonna hang out. It's just gonna be normal stuff. You know, there's nothing too fancy planned. I was thinking we would probably just bounce out to the archaeology place first and work more on that glass wall, because that is the project that'll be easiest to achieve in the short term. Do I have enough glass out there? I think so. We'll just make more in the event that we need it. Do we need to mend anything? No, it's all fine. We'll just drop some of these things from the air. That's very classy. You can do that when you're a hero. You know, I will say I missed the era before I discovered flight. You know, like all of humanity. You know, the world became devalued by the advent of the airplane, and I'm doing it here too. Like, once it used to like be such an event to travel, right? Like if I was gonna go like 3,000 blocks, you know, I would need to plan for it. You know, we would have to say goodbye to everybody in the village, and now I just like, you know, hop up. But it is nice not needing to build more than one canal. Oh yeah, Luke, you probably never even seen the canal. There wouldn't have been any call for me to have gone to it in recent times. I've probably talked about it though. You don't like to make glass out of sand because you can trade for glass and sand's finite. I mean, theoretically finite. But you have spoken of your love for the raw gold, you know, something you can't manufacture, and I get that. I do think that is excellent. Did I not... Did I take all of that home? It's possible. You can just chip on this wall still, because... So probably... We could pull the whole river up closer to this side. But, well, you know, let's just chip down this wall while we're thinking. Thinking. What a generous term for my, my planning abilities. Yes, thinking. No, I am capable of thought, like, in an abstract sense, but not, like, when it comes to planning out what I'm gonna do when building in Minecraft. You know, everybody else in the world's got an advantage over me, because they did this when they were, like, a kid. So they already know, like, what it's gonna look like in their head, but I don't. I haven't done anything. I'm just faking it. But I do know that if you have a big wall out of glass, you could look through it, and then there'll be water, and that'll be cool. Also, the more distance you have between this excavation and not excavation, you know, the more room for other interesting things. You asked how my day's been. I mean, it was fine. I sat around and watched some of the last season of the Great British Baking Show, or Bake Off as they call it in Britain. I think there's a different name for it here, but and played some Hades without talking about it out loud, which was a fun experience. Said your day was an adventure? Oh, I hope a good one. Anything you want to talk about? Oh no. That is an unfortunate adventure, to be sure. You know, for my money, just like breaking a hole in a wall in Minecraft, it's a good thing to do with your time. Bending the plastic with a hairdryer in your hands. I guess that would be how to do it. I worked in a shop like changing oil on cars and stuff, but we didn't do, you know, anything. If something looked messed up, you just be like, oh, that's a bummer. Go to someone who knows what they're doing. I didn't know what I was doing. This is gonna look so excellent when it's done, unless it doesn't, in which case it's still gonna be worth doing because we'll have figured out that it doesn't look good and then I won't try to do it again later. Like, for example, the giant treehouse made out of trees. That was a great idea, and after making it, it was still a great idea. And I'll probably make one in this world eventually, assuming that I live forever. And then after it all is all said and done, you got the pieces good as used, and it all works. Nice. Is the concrete post okay? Sorry, I had to. I'm glad things got sorted out. Yeah, because today is the last day of my vacation. I go back to work tomorrow, so I just sort of wanted to chill a little more than I had been. Sort of wistfully look out the window. You know, like the opposite of El Chapo in that meme. I'm like, oh no, the world, I'm gonna have to get in my car. I wonder. Anyone bouldering? Nice! Nice. How fun. Do you have most experience with rock climbing and such? Do you go often? I always liked going rock climbing growing up. My family always started going whenever I was a teenager, so I didn't do it like forever. It was just like a few years really that we did, but it always made me feel like much cooler than I am. Just, we just going around. They're like, "Oh, what'd you do?" I'm like, "Oh, we went rock climbing." Yeah, I fell. Yeah, I think the timeline is like my dad went to like a hardware store, for hardware store type reasons. This would have been in like the 90s, and then some dude there was into rock climbing, and then like before we knew it, like we were rock climbing. Pork chop for Indiana, little pet for Dr. Jones. Yeah, climbing trees is fun. Such a boring person. It's like, what I really like to do is just climb like these same like 8 trees, like I would climb other ones, in my tree climbing era, but what I really like to do is like climb specific trees in specific ways, have different routes up, the sweet gum in the front of the yard. There are 3 sweet gums, but one of them was way better to climb on than the other ones. Obviously. If there's more than one tree, one of them will be better to climb on. And can I just say, as a person who endeavors to like be the Lorax every day and speak for the trees and all, it's hard to love a sweet gum tree anyway. Although they can be good to climb, but look, I don't even have to mow the yard anymore, and I still got some bitterness about it. But if you've ever heard me tell the story of being stung by a whole bunch of yellow jackets and being chased by many more, those were the trees that the nest was by. Inventory is full. You had a crab apple tree, you'd climb up it instead of picking the little fruits or flowers, but it's just nice, yeah. Yeah, my, what I really like to do was just, like, run around and grab, like, honeysuckle. That was my idea of a great time. We should throw this junk into a shulker, I guess. This very valuable cobblestone, granite stuff, junk. I never. Anyway, I digressed. Or rather, trailed off. Honeysuckle was the point of the story. There would be honeysuckle plants, and that would be like the preeminent, you can definitely eat this wild in my head. Like, I had no compunction about it. I'm like, wherever, I still do it if I'm like walking by the side of the road and I see it, like growing on some fence or whatever, I'll grab a flower. The wonderful sounds of explosive rain in Minecraft. Explosive rain. Wouldn't there be a name for that? Nope. You have to be, like, descriptive, but not too much. Because when you got good at picking honeysuckle, you could get like the really, really good ones. They're like that perfect shade of white, and you could check them out and make sure, you know, like when the base of it is like that really good, like solid green color throughout, and you know that you'll be able to get like a perfect little dew from it. That's the good stuff there. That's real country boy living. But I would grab it every day on the way to the bus stop, which was a bit down the road from my house. It's like it wasn't like super far from civilization, but it is out in the country. Like, there were no houses between my house and the bayou. So we had to walk down to the street corner, which was a ways away, but there's plenty of opportunities for grabbing honeysuckle on the way. Not that we didn't have plenty that grew on our own property, but, you know, it always tasted better from the fence line of the neighbors. Also, like, you sort of turned left, and, like, there was... Look, if we would have walked the other way, we would have eaten more of ours. No, not really. It didn't grow up there on ours. You had to go back the other way. It's not important. Well, no, it was more that I would eat the ones at home. You know, we just physically didn't walk by our own. But on account of how, like, Mom wasn't trying to take us to school or whatever, you know, we would get out there a bit early and be just, like, messing around. But not, like, a lot, you know, not getting into trouble. Of course, if it was raining, you got to do the best thing ever, which is, you know, race the sticks down the water-swollen ditch. You know, the Winnie the Pooh sticks game. Vegetarian guys, third race rubber ducks once a year. Oh, they still do. A nice tradition. Hopefully they still do. A wandering trader. Does he have anything good? He sells... He buys fermented spider eyes and milk buckets. And he sells cherry logs, which, you know, would be fine. If I wanted them. But I'll just, you know, I would just go and grow my own. I know the Wandering Trader isn't for that, you know. It's for more specialized purposes, like ruining your field of wheat, for example. Speaking of wheat, I finally got to where in Hades 2 I don't need to grow any more plants to craft things, or at least I don't think I do. So now we just have the whole field there filled up with wheat. You know, it's just a little field, but it's still very nice. Put my own, you know, personal touch on. Say it's only really used for the super flat. Yeah, and somebody was talking about, a person I know was talking about, like, how they're very useful in, like, Skyblock and such as well, but, like, mainly, like, restrictive sort of things, or, like, you know, if all you do is stay on an island, you know, which, If somebody's made a Robinson Crusoe map, I just need to, like, grab that map seed and just play that way. That would be a lot of fun. I mean, most of the elements, not all of it. We can skip some of the parts of Robinson Crusoe. We don't have to do the whole thing as written. I don't want anybody to get the impression that I think we want to do a one-to-one recreation of it. Man, I love that book, but oh boy, is it rough sometimes. Not always, just sometimes. You can really tell what century it was written in. I guess I just assumed that people, without knowing much about any of that, like, yeah, you know, do people make like scenarios? You know, they must, because I know there's, I mean, you know, trillions and trillions of seeds. I don't know how many there are. Maybe not that many. I think there are trillions. I believe I heard that there's so many Minecraft seeds that, like, you know, someone else won't get yours, essentially, not randomly. You know, like, if I told somebody this world seed, they could get it, obviously, but, like, you know, as far as I know, even if you sat and, like, personally, like, not with a computer program, but personally just, like, tried to find this world, you never could. Not by hitting random. And that's a beautiful thing. Am I going in? Where am I at? I'm like, why is it rendering the world in like this? I've been here before. It's just being funny because of the sunset, I think. I'm like, this is the village. We're going home. It just looks so weird. I'm used to the world that we've already rendered in, you know, being there, but I guess something happened and it's forgotten what it used to be. Like, we've definitely been home before. Speaking of, why did we do this? Why are we going home? I don't remember. I guess we're not digging over there anymore. It's because we've been here before. Yes. There were many years. Hey, Gerudo. Many years when my brother and I, we would just, like, basically every single night go to sleep watching the Lord of the Rings movies, but very often we would watch the Two Towers. We would call it the Good Parts version. We would just, like, it would just be like the Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli story, basically. And Frodo and Merry. We would just skip the Frodo and Sam parts. You know, Pippin and Merry. We'd just skip the Frodo and Sam parts. I mean, we would watch them sometimes, just like, we would watch it to go to sleep, you know, and then we would be on, like, you know, a couple of the couches, and we would just, like, skip chapter a few times, and then, you know, because you get, like, all the rousing, like, you know, the heroism of it, the speeches, the you know, the bantering between our heroes, and then, you know, you get to Helm's Deep, and then you get to, like, fall asleep to the sound of the Horn of Helm Hammerhand sounding in the deep one last time, and, you know, that's really what it's all about. But I'll still do that sometimes. I'll put it on, or like the soundtrack to go to sleep to, but often I just go to sleep to the sweet, sweet tones of Turin doing commentary for some reason. It's just easy for me to go to sleep to. Maybe one day I'll play Total War in multiplayer and lose. I can title the stream something like, I have never won a game of. It'll be true forever. I saw Three Kingdoms had like an achievement for winning like 222 multiplayer matches. I'm just like, that's a little hardcore for an objective, but alright, let's go ahead and farm up. Some gunpowder. We have the best song in the game after all. Why not get some gunpowder? Prefer to throw from you, so I can have 100% with multiplayer with never play again. That's the smart way to do it. Because I like getting achievements in games. I actually quite like it, but sometimes you see them and you're just like, I'm not going to do that. Like in Warhammer 2, I think we've talked about this before, but like in Warhammer 2, when it's like, hey, would you like to get every single technology? Never mind that would take 4 times as long as it would take to take over the world. God, this song's so good. Clean. So I just wanted to like that. Yeah, I saw. So I actually, there's one to research all the things, and I saw it, and after I finished off the Empress Changxiang campaign, I was like, okay, I'll just do that, you know, I'll auto away some turns while I did like a couple more fights, you know, just on my own time after we declared victory. And then you totally don't get the achievement for the bandit tech tree, which was a little annoying. The achievement to declare yourself Emperor as Hassan. That is interesting. I mean, of course, the one that was most interesting to me was the 5 Tigers achievement. I'm like, how do I even make that happen? But I mean, I guess it's not overly difficult to imagine a scenario where you could make my child like you. And obviously you start with 2 of them and then Zhao Yun you get it from the thing, but like... just sort of like convince the old man to join up somehow. They say that you think that achievement's for them? Oh. Okay. The old spy thing. Yeah, I was thinking of doing another starting another playthrough up, and then I couldn't decide who to play. So I figured, well, if I'm gonna be indecisive, I can just hop around in Minecraft, listen to some nice Minecraft music, and farm gunpowder. People have told me, you know, about their automated farms and stuff. They got gunpowder farms, got farms for everything. But here's my question. If you have gunpowder farm, how are you going to pad your world time, right? Like, how are you ever going to get to 750 days without getting super bored if you automate everything? You got to do that yourself, you know. You got to, you know, when you need stone, you got to go get your own stone. You don't want the game to just have it in a box for you. You know, how are you going to pad your runtime? You got to figure out how to milk the clock. Because I was thinking Wei, and I was thinking Yanshao, and then I was like, but why not play like Mateng and get something going on up there? And then, you know, I started looking at all the factions, and then I got all, you know, paralyzed. Why am I running around like I'm gonna find more of these jokers here? Maybe. Like, I'm just running around as if there's gonna be more creepers the longer I look. Why can't I run? The hunger. What are we looking for in a campaign? I would say like more of a classic one, you know, like how I would have approached the Liu Bei campaign, you know. Try, well, I mean, less aggressive than all that, you know, with paying attention to the game mechanics, but like not so Pacifist Kong Rong, not so like mechanic busted necessarily as Sansa and Lubu were, but like, you know, if the mechanics of the faction are strong, then that's great. But because, like, I quite like 190 as a day. Why am I still running around here? There's nothing to do in this field. Tatsuya Luochong. Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing about Tatsuya. I was like, you know, if I just don't do all the broken stuff in a crazy way, then it'll be like a normal campaign where, you know, Luochong gets trophies for doing things. That does sound cool. Of course, there's a hole in the floor where we put all of the random things. Not all of them. Obviously, some of them have to be thrown away. The only place we know how, over the wall here. Only they're inside. If we just don't walk over it, it won't matter. Oh no, we picked up the cap again. This is the worst day of my life. Be gone! So the Chen units are mostly too expensive to be worth it, but they're still good. Nice. This position was interesting, especially, you know, like if you can avoid having war with some of your other neighbors, which seems like feasible, right? But a lot of the elites of Wei and like their unique generals, I think, are super cool. And we know that a few of them are quite strong in addition to being very cool. I'm Anzu Chu. They trap me. When they do that, you just gotta get the carrot off. They probably won't kill you to cram before they themselves die, but you don't want to take that chance. I mean, you want to take the chance enough to just be running in here with like a few hundred pigs. Because what are you gonna do? Like build a real experience farm? You won't. You're me, remember? You're me in this monologue, and you would never ever do that. You wouldn't even build a chicken farm here. That was my typical experience farm, was chicken farm, which in retrospect was so much more perilous than this. So we'd be like in a quite enclosed space with the chickens. I guess they could float up somewhat, which is not an advantage that these poor fools have, but... He's got the enemies everywhere, like you know, it's like, it's such a lucrative place, it's no wonder everybody wants it. But, you know, it's funny how in every Total War game, I very quickly just, like, think, why won't my enemies just leave me alone for a little while? Why don't they just, why don't they just chill? Don't they want to be friends? As if they can sense my insincere nature. They don't want to be friends, actually. Where on earth did that butcher go? They're going to the old, the town gathering. The moot. 'Tis a villager moot. Oh, he can't buy mutton. He can't buy mutton. How long have I been playing this game? Like, I can't have sold it to him today, but they have long memories, these merchants. Three games they will leave you alone comparatively. Yeah, you know. Especially, you know, when even the belligerent personalities, you know, not non-men, but, you know, like, of the Hun, you know, you can sort of bribe out of wanting to hit you. for all my suspicious nature, it doesn't seem like there's anyone that's just straight, you know, I'm the Skaven levels. But I mean, I guess if you try to ally with Lu Bu, it's unlikely that he would be a very good military partner for too long. But maybe he's a real friendly dude. Alright. Garuda, what you doing up there, buddy? He's all treasures. Yeah, everybody hates him so much that, you know. Anyway, I don't really feel like playing Minecraft right now, so we're gonna go ahead and call the video. But first, of course, time for the playing of the national anthem, the music box version of Creator by Lena Raine. I mean, I guess I played it for 45 minutes. I just, you know, we dug a little bit. That was fun. What do I want to do? Not go to work tomorrow. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Well, sometimes I think I could just sit out and look out of this specific window just for a long time, like an old man looking out at his yard. Look at the wildflowers, I would say. But anyway. Hey, just hanging around. That's what it says on the tin. Well, oh well. This is a nice time. My vacationing. I mean, I'm wistful about it. No reason not to enjoy the last hour. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Might be back on in a couple minutes to stream something, and I might not. I don't know. Kind of hard to tell how I'm ever going to fill in the future, right? But anyway. Not particularly looking forward to going back to my normal life. Guess I'll get over it quickly enough. Anyway, I'll be back later on, or not. See you, man.